Hare Krishna. We are in the fourth chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is, and the name of this chapter is Transcendental Knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means beyond the human reach. Today we are going to study the verse number 38. And in this chapter, from verse number 35, we are getting to know various benefits of transcendental knowledge and how to get the transcendental knowledge by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. And then by completely surrendering to the spiritual master, by asking questions submissively to the spiritual master, and by rendering devotional services. Rendering devotional services means following the instructions of the spiritual master. And when a person does this, then he is sure to attain the transcendental knowledge, which means he will surely have the knowledge that who is God, who is he, and what is his eternal relationship with God, and how should he serve God. And one who has all these answers, he is sure to have the devotional practices, and such a person never gets trapped in illusion. And further, the transcendental knowledge burns all the reactions of all the impious and pious actions, thus liberates the person from the endless cycle of birth and death. These are the benefits of transcendental knowledge. And today, we will get to know about one more benefit of transcendental knowledge. Now, let us start today's verse by reciting the verse number 38. न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति. न, never. He certainly, jnanen, with the knowledge, sadrisham, in comparison, pavitram, sanctified or purified, iha, in this world, vidyate, exists, tat, that, swayam, itself, yog, devotion, samsiddha, matured, kalena, in course of time, atmani, in himself, Vindati, enjoys. Krishna says that in this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Nahi jnanen sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. Then he says such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. Tat swayam yog sansiddha. And then he says, and one who achieves this knowledge enjoys the self within himself, which means he is peaceful within himself in course of time, in due course of time. Kalen Atmani Vindati. Now let us read Srila Prabhupada's purport and understand this very important verse in a nice manner. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's purports are like instant food. We have to only put in very little effort and will have a clear understanding of what actually Krishna wants us to understand and do. Prabhupada says that whenever the word transcendental knowledge comes, actually it means spiritual knowledge, which is beyond the realm of human understanding. And this is why the spiritual master is a must to understand, to make us understand the spiritual knowledge. Prabhupada says that when for the mundane studies in this material world, schools, colleges, and institutions are required, then how can spiritual knowledge be learnt without surrendering to a spiritual master? Prabhupada always suggests to have a spiritual master who is in disciplic succession, which means we need to have a guru who has heard about the absolute truth from his spiritual master. Prabhupada says that there is nothing so sublime and purifying than this transcendental knowledge in this material world. Prabhupada explains that in this material world, everything is governed by the three modes of material nature, that is, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. And every person is entangled in these three modes and does all his work, sometimes in mode of goodness, sometimes in passion, and sometimes in ignorance. But the transcendental knowledge is beyond the reach of the contamination of these three modes, because transcendental knowledge means the knowledge of Krishna, whose names, pastimes are non different from each other. Prabhupada says that in this material world, everything is a relative term, like the liquid water and the word water are different from each other. But in the spiritual world, it is not like this. The name of Krishna, the pastimes, and the person Krishna are same. In this material world, the whole day, if we keep on repeating the word water, 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 it is not going to quench our thirst. But if we chant the name of Krishna, then surely we will have Krishna with us. But the only thing is this, that we need to be educated to feel Krishna with us all the time. And surely the transcendental knowledge purifies a person from inside by cleaning all the material desires. Material desires means wanting to make himself happy. And transcendental knowledge means doing everything for the happiness of Krishna. And when a person has the true knowledge that who is Krishna, who is he himself, and what is his eternal relationship, and what is his duty towards the Supreme Krishna, then one person engages himself in various steps of devotional service, like hearing about Krishna, which is Shravan, then speaking about Krishna, which is Kirtan, and then following these two processes, Krishna comes in the memory of such a person. And by this, by the mercy of Krishna, such a person remembers Krishna all the time, which is Smaranam. And this leads a person to liberation. Prabhupada says that not having the transcendental knowledge is being in ignorance. Prabhupada clearly says that one who does not have the transcendental knowledge is like being in ignorance, and ignorance is the main cause of bondage, and knowledge is the cause of liberation. Prabhupada says that having transcendental knowledge means one has the clear knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he himself is his part and parcel, which means that he is not his body, but he is spirit soul, which is embodied, and being a part of Krishna, he should serve Krishna. It is just the same as the different body parts serve the stomach, and when the stomach is happy, then all the different parts of the entire body becomes automatically happy and healthy. In the same way, when a person engages in the devotional service, like listening about Krishna's pastime in Bhagavatam, listening to the conversation of Arjuna and Krishna in Bhagwat GITA, and then speaking about Krishna and thinking about Krishna, the person gradually becomes peaceful from within. And because transcendental knowledge is divine, powerful, and purifying, the person is always peaceful and calm. Prabhupada says that when a person dedicates himself to the devotional service, then he gets to know that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He is the supreme Lord in the three world, and he is the most loving well-wisher and the only benefactor of the all living beings. And having this knowledge, one becomes peaceful from within, and then he doesn't search for peace anywhere outside of him. Krishna in the chapter 5, verse number 29 says, Bhogtaram yagyatapsam sarvalok maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatvam mam shantim richati. Krishna says very clearly that the sages who, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, and knowing me as the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Srila Prabhupada says that one who knows that it is only Krishna who saved all the residents of Vrindavan by lifting the Govardhan hill, then it is only Krishna who helped his friend Sudama. Then it is only Krishna who protected Draupadi from being disrobed and insulted. And there are endless examples of Krishna giving protection and saving every living being. And one who knows this never becomes anxious in any situation. Rather, he stays peaceful and calm within himself because he knows Krishna is his well wisher, he is his benefactor, and he is the supreme Lord. Prabhupada says that to attain this stage, one must take the process of devotional service. And then, in due course of time, one becomes peaceful from within. And this is the culmination point of Krishna consciousness. Now, it's very important for us to know that the most important thing in this is in due course of time, which means that one must engage in devotional service of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and listening about Krishna Katha and having Krishna Prasadam unconditionally, which means not having any thought of getting back anything in return, that is, without having any fruitive desires. One must continue to do the occupational duty according to his varnashram dharma and continue his devotional practices. Prabhupada says that when Arjun wanted to leave his occupational duty of fighting and was wanting to go to Himalayas, thinking that he would gain transcendental knowledge by this process, he was so much restless and anxious. Prabhupada further says that the Mayavadis think that by changing the outer garb and by leaving all kinds of material work, one can attain transcendental knowledge. But Krishna is making it clear to us that when one has the complete knowledge that who is God and who is He Himself and what is His relationship with God, and having this knowledge, when one does all his occupational duties only for the happiness of Krishna and not for his own happiness, such a person is in transcendental knowledge, which is sublime and purifying and gives peace from within. And this is the main aim of Krishna consciousness and the sole aim of Bhagwat Gita. Now I am very sure that each one of us have properly understood that how can one become peaceful from inside. Prabhupada says that the devotional service is an activity of spiritual soul, but it has to be supplemented by hearing, chanting, and thinking about Krishna, which are external activities. It is just the same as in a seed. A tree is sleeping in it, and when the external sources like sunshine, water, and air reaches to it, then the seed sprouts. In the same way, we need to nourish the deep embedded Krishna consciousness in our heart by constant practice of devotional service. One is sure to experience peace from within. In today's verse, we have clearly understood that how one can become peaceful, and peace is to be found within and it is not anywhere outside. Srila Prabhupada says that Arjun was Krishna's devotee and friend, but he was acting as an ignorant person so that Krishna can give us Bhagavad Gita by teaching Arjun. Arjun never became peaceful till the time he was thinking that he will not kill his grandfather, his teachers, and his brothers and other relatives. But the same Arjun, when he fought fiercely only to please Krishna, then he became so peaceful and calm within himself. And this change came only after listening to Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. The lesson for us is this, that we must do all our occupational duties only for the happiness of Krishna, knowing that Krishna is the supreme God and we are his part and parcel. And when we will do all our duties only for the happiness of Krishna, then we will all become automatically happy and peaceful. This is the benefit of transcendental knowledge, and in this material world, there is nothing so sublime and purifying like the transcendental knowledge. Everyone is working so hard to become happy and peaceful, and Krishna has given us the secret of becoming happy and peaceful from within. I bow down to Srila Prabhupada and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Hari Mohan Das Prabhuji, for making us understand the most secretive knowledge of Bhagwat Gita in such a simple manner. Please do write your comments in the comment box, and in case you have any questions, please do write. I shall surely try to answer your questions. Now, in the next verse, Krishna is going to tell us about the person who has deep faith in transcendental knowledge, and what will he gain having such strong faith in transcendental knowledge. Stay connected to get all these answers, and we shall meet the next week. Till then, keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, be happy, and always stay connected with Bhagavad Gita as it is. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.